From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant. Thank you for listening. If you're on YouTube, thumbs up. You know how it goes. Appreciate it. And all you folks on your iOS, Apple devices, please leave a review of the positive variety, 5 stars. That's the kind of recruits you want on your football team. That's the kind of listeners we want for our program. Our being myself and Corey Clark. We were for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code Warchant30. Corey Clark, how are you, man? Wish you could put my arms around you right now, but I can't. How are you?
Oh, that's very sweet. I'd love that. That would feel so great right now. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just, one day into the next. You know what I mean? Just trying to survive.
I'm going to bust right out the gate, shoot me out of a can, and bring in a hot take. You could guarantee me that Florida State would go 14-0, and they'd win every game by 35 points or more. And if they were to lose in the title game and lose in the fashion in which Kansas City lost the Super Bowl on Sunday night, I'd be like, nope, I don't want it. Don't want it. I don't want to be a party to it.
What if you had just won the year before? I don't feel like it would sting nearly as much.
No, yeah, I don't know. Because it's like the Rose Bowl. It's like the Oregon game almost to a certain degree. That was horrible. I can't you fight, you scratch, and you claw. You get to that point, you play that terrible. And I'm not even a Chiefs fan. I'm happy for Tampa. I'm from Tampa. Two of my buddies, I think, I think they each put something like 200 or 250 each maybe preseason for Tampa to win. I think Tampa was 25 to 1 to win it.
Oh, there we
So
go.
they're
Nice.
they're living the dream right now. I'm happy
payday.
for my boys.
All right.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, but just in terms of watching like a great franchise, or not even franchise, just like to see like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, shoot, he's gonna have a podcast with David Carr and DeAndre Francois, just like a one-off about like the worst game they've ever played in with an offensive line just being totally AWOL, no show.
Yeah, that was gross. That was gross. It was a gross game. I'm sure we have plenty of listeners who are Tampa fans.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Obviously, I'm a Falcons fan, but I'm NFC South for life.
Right.
I
Just
ride
means
or die
more.
with NFC South.
Just
Yeah, it
means
just
more.
means more in the NFC South. That's what we do. So I claim that trophy as my own. That's another Super Bowl trophy in the NFC South trophy case, along with the Saints one. I guess the Bucks one from a few years ago, and that's about it. We haven't won a ton in this division, but we've been really close. If you guys have been paying attention to a couple other ones, so yeah, man, I'm genuinely happy for all my Tampa friends, Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, and others from that I know from Twitter. Wayne McGahee, who I used to work with, who's weirdly at the Democrat, who was weirdly an Atlanta Braves fan, and I think an Atlanta Hawks fan.
He's from
but
Atlanta, I thought.
Yeah, but a Tampa Buccaneers fan. So he chose right there. So he's got himself 2 Super Bowls. This was another one. So, yeah, congratulations to all you guys, man. It was an awful, ugly game, but, just for the casual viewer like myself, for you guys, I'm sure it was glorious because what you did to Mahomes, more accurately, what you did to that offensive line almost should have landed Shaq Barrett and JPP in prison. I mean, they just abused those guys for 3.5 hours for all of us to see with a bunch of witnesses. It was just just utter domination at the line of scrimmage.
Best commercial of the night.
Oh,
was there a Scientology commercial? One of my buddies texted me. He's like, "Was that a Scientology commercial?" I'm like, I wasn't paying attention. I don't think so.
I didn't see. I didn't see this.
Was.
I didn't see a Scientology commercial. Maybe I wasn't watching that one.
The internet said there was.
The only time I laughed was in it. I'm not saying I liked the commercial because I thought it fizzled at the end. But when he said, "I'm Drake from State Farm," that made me laugh when he was the dude's body double. But then they should have ended with that because after that it was 10 seconds of nonsense.
Right, yeah.
But that made me chuckle. There was a Paralympics commercial with the gold medal swimmer that I was watching it with Stephanie. She got a little teary-eyed watching that.
Toyota! Like, what are you doing, Toyota? You sell cars. Don't make me cry.
Was that Toyota that did that?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like all these commercials that you like that one, like that was a really effective commercial. Or I thought anyway, it was memorable. No idea what they were advertising. Yeah. I thought it was a commercial for the Paralympics. Yeah. I didn't know it was Toyota.
Well, they are a sponsor, I think, of the Paralympic Games.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. So that makes sense. So, Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There weren't a ton of them that were great, but I don't remember thinking any of them were awful, except maybe the Mountain Dew one.
I laughed twice. I laughed at the
what was the other one?
The Will Ferrell GMC commercial.
Yeah, that was funny. That's right.
And I laughed like twice during the Amazon commercial with the wife flirting with Michael B. Jordan, and then the husband being like, "No, Alexa, don't do that." Like she was talking to him like he's Alexa and having him do all these things, like add body oils to my shopping list. Alexa, he's like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that."
I didn't see that one, but that sounds funny.
It was at the 2-minute warning. So that
the Wayne's World one, not. I mean, what are we like? They had a Wayne's World parody.
Michael Myers looks horrible. Is that his name, Michael Myers?
Yeah, he's Mike Myers. You're thinking of the guy from Halloween.
Yeah,
that was Michael Myers. I guess his real name is Michael Myers. You got it right.
Well, Willie's name was just Willie. It wasn't William.
Well, that's true. Yeah. You know that though. I mean, what are we doing with Wayne's World? That was I think a 1991 movie in Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Like what are we? I mean, do we have people that were born after like 1982 that are writing ads? Like I don't. Those movies were like Edward's. I was telling Stephanie, Edward Scissorhands wasn't even that big a deal when it came out.
Yeah.
But we're doing something 32 years later about it. So yeah, that was odd. But overall it was fine. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the commercials, I guess.
Shout out Brooks Kopeka.
How about that?
Sneaky. That's a sneaky thing I'd put on my sporting bucket list. I don't know how high it would be on the list, but I would put it on there. I do want to attend the Phoenix Open. I think that place is, it's like it's the closest thing to Woodstock for a golf tournament. And I finally watched the first part of that Tiger Woods documentary on HBO, the 2-parter.
Isn't that nuts? Like there's never been another reaction to it. So it's the 16th hole, right?
I don't even know.
I think it's a par 3 at the Phoenix Open. I think it's the 16th hole, where it's like part of the ambiance of the course to just go crazy.
Yeah.
Like they treat it as if they're watching, I don't know, like a rodeo. Like I don't. It's just not a golf crowd in that little area. And Tiger Woods I think this was right after he'd won the Masters.
Yeah.
I mean, he was young. In that play, he holed one on that, and the place just went nuts. Like they were throwing beer all over the place.
Yeah.
The camera was shaking. I mean, it was like Rock Preston scoring the game-tying touchdown against Florida at the Choke-a-Doke. Like the place was just going nuts. And so that I would like to go there, but only if I was at that hole.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't need to go I don't need to go watch golf in person. But I would love to get a seat at that hole and be able to sit there for 8 hours and watch people on a par 3.
It's pretty impressive. I heard like the hospitality tent, so the hospitality room there is supposed to be epic as well, which kind of fits into. I'm trying to figure out how much. I don't want to air out our guys' personal business over here, but $1.3 million for winning that tournament. Not bad.
I think he's already like in the top 30 all time, maybe on the all time money list.
He wins
something like that.
He wins big tourneys, man. That's what he does.
Yeah, I think he's won. I think that was his 7th win on tour. Brooks Kopeka, by the way, we're talking about, like Aslan mentioned, the Florida State guy. 7th win on tour, and only the 3rd that wasn't a major. But yeah, he's won, obviously, and more importantly than just the money. Oh, that's just an awesome sign for him. Like he lost basically. Well, we all did, but he lost basically all of this last year because he wasn't healthy. He just couldn't get right. And he tried to come back for the majors last year, and just you could tell he wasn't right. Well, whatever the 2 or 3 months off that he got to get healthy, he sure looked the part this weekend. And what was funny is I was watching it, and I don't really watch golf, but I just had it on before the Super Bowl. And I'm like, I tuned it to PGA Golf. Let's see what's going on. And he just made an eagle to get to within like 3. But he was on like the 13th or 14th hole. And I'm like, well, it's good that he got in the top 10, get some money, get some confidence back. And then me and Brady went and shot baskets for a while. And I came back and saw on Twitter that he'd won the darn thing. So great comeback, man. Good job, Brooks.
Fred Couples, 67th on the all-time list. Chris DeMarco, Gator, 69th. You're right. Brooks Kopeka, 30th in all-time PGA Tour earnings.
Is he really? I just threw that out. Does that include what he just did?
I think so, because it says that last week he was 32nd on the list, and now he's. So I assume that it counts all the way up in there. So, $33,465,962.
And that's just in winnings.
That's just winnings.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I literally, sometimes I'll go out with Brady.
You're bragging about getting shots up with Brady. Take him to the course.
That's what I was just about to say. What am I doing? Like, I should be at the course with Brady from 9 to 9. I mean, are you kidding me? But I mean, he could be a golfer. You know, he could be 5'10", 175 and be a golfer. I mean, Brooks Koepka looks like a bodybuilder now, but still, you can do that. That's, man, does that not just seem like the life?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you have to be incredible, but if you get good enough to be like a Brooks Koepka or even like a Kevin Kisner, somebody that's kind of middle of the road on the tour, you're still one of the, 50 or 60 best people in the world at what you do.
He's 66th on the all-time list, Kevin Kisner. One spot ahead of Freddie Couples. Look at you.
Oh, there you go. How random. Man, what a life that must be, man. Just go. I'm sure you got your home course. You just go play it a couple times a week. You practice a lot. You probably drink a few Mick Ultras. And just what a life, man. What a life. No physical harm other than like you might throw out your back.
Yeah.
Not like Mahomes. Not like what Mahomes was dealing with for his $450 million.
I don't want to take this down a dark route. We'll try to figure out a way to pivot this to Florida State football at some point. I remember talking to my friends who had the money on this game earlier in the weekend, really, and telling them, like, man, this whole thing with Andy Reid's kid, I mean, if you got money on the game, I would feel a little bit better about it. I can't imagine. I'm like, maybe I should ask Corey this, but I'm like, that's really dark. But man, like, Andy Reid's kid is probably going to go to prison or have to pay millions of dollars because he got drunk and like hit 2 children. And then like within 48 hours of the biggest game, probably of his life. I don't know if he was an outside linebacker coach last year for the team. But, man, that team looked – I don't know. I mean, it's obviously not the reason they lost, but I'm like, man, I know we have to – these guys, this is why they get paid millions of dollars, compartmentalize and put all these things in the back of their head and focus on the task at hand, and they got all these other guys counting on them. I don't know, man. That was look, number one, let's clear up. It's alleged at this point, right? We don't know for sure. It's alleged.
Let's cover our bases there and say it was alleged, but it could be that either way – he got into an accident where children were airlifted to a hospital. And I just can't imagine what that does. And look, much more importantly than what it does to a team is what it's done to that family, quite clearly. But at the same time, yeah, that's a hard. I don't know how you just compartmentalize that. It's really hard to, quite clearly. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
All right. Let's see if there's anything.
Way to bring that up, though, Aslan. What a great pivot.
Because people were talking about Mahomes' toe and like, oh, don't talk about his toe. Don't take away from what Todd Bowles and what Tampa Bay did, which is to a certain extent, it's true. I mean, they just played like man. They just rushed 4 and just whooped them every single play practically. But like he was walking kind of a little gingerly. I mean, he really wasn't moving the way he used to. But there's obviously a bunch of variables that go into a game like that. That was one of those things where I'm like, man, if you got money on it, just makes you feel a little bit better about it.
I liked when at the end when I don't know who was it. What was it? Whitehead that did the deuces
Winfield,
to Tyreek Hill.
Antoine Winfield Jr.
Whitfield, yeah. And then Romo and Nance lost their minds. Oh, that's completely unnecessary. That taunting is. What did they say? Was it taunting was completely unnecessary?
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you? It's absolutely necessary. Do you know who Tyreek Hill is? Have you paid attention to his life at all, or watched him when he scores touchdowns? Like he flashes deuces all the time when he's running his 4.16 by someone. I thought it was the coolest moment of the game, especially because of what Tyreek Hill had done to them 3 months ago. I mean, he had 200 yards on them in a quarter, and for them to come back and shut him down and shut that Chiefs offense out without a touchdown, man, I thought it was the coolest. That and the guy getting tackled that CBS didn't show. But if you're on Twitter, that fan that ran out on the field, CBS broke to commercial, but people in the stands filmed it, and that was awesome. The way his run and then his night ended. Got tackled right at the goal line by a security guard, and then another security guard speared him as he was down, complete targeting, just head first right into the guy's abdomen. It looked like, but yeah, it was awesome. I love when those people just get pummeled.
I
was hoping Mahomes would take the ball and throw it in his face.
They live for that moment, those security guards. I think those security guards go into every game hoping. Like I wish they would. Like I wish
you would. I wish you please.
Yeah.
Please. I just want to see how I'm going to respond. Some of the first couple though, man, they looked like they were 60 years old and a little bit heavy set. Like, what are y'all even doing out on the field? Like, he zigged and zagged, and they fell down like he was Peter Warwick. and then he found some better athletes at the other end of the end zone, at the other end of the field. But it's also funny, like the Bucs players were running with him on the sidelines, and they all started celebrating when he got tackled at the goal line.
Well, when you're winning, these things are a little more easier to take down on the palate. So congratulations again. The Bucs win Super Bowl. What number is it? Is it 55, Corey?
It is 55. Unlike, despite what CBS was trying to tell you with their logo, or the NFL was trying to tell you with their logo, with an L, an I, and a V, which obviously is a 54 for all of us that know Roman numerals. Yeah. But the I in the middle was just the Super Bowl trophy.
It's the Lombardi Trophy. Come on, Corey.
Why would you put it? Why would you put it right there?
Where else are you gonna put it? It's got to be in the center. It's a trophy. It's the main.
It doesn't have to be anywhere. We don't have to see the trophy. You would only do that. That would have been. Wasn't that the logo last year? What did they have last year? That would have been a perfect logo for last year. But last year they were probably just like an LI and a V. And then after the fact, the guy's like, man, that would have been cool if that I had been the Lombardi Trophy. He's like, hey man, we can do it again. We can try it this year too. Like, why not do it next year? What is it next year? It's LVI?
Yeah.
So then make the I, LVI, make that I the trophy. Or are they going to have a trophy in the middle of the L and the V again? So it looks like Livy.
Like I need to.
So
I'm looking at
that was literally we had Stephanie and I and Brady too had like a 5-minute conversation about, I guess it's Super Bowl 54. And she goes, no, they keep saying Super Bowl 55. And I'm like, no, I think the person was 67, so this would be 54. And then, no, she looked it up, and it was Super Bowl 55 with an L-I-V as the logo.
Yeah, last year it was L, the Lombardi, and then IV. So
it was the exact same logo?
Yeah.
So they just used it 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well,
all right, hey, it's been a tough year for all of us. And I feel like that Super Bowl was kind of just fitting for the year, wasn't it? Just like the college football national championship game was. Just a complete dud, but it's cool that we got through a season.
Yeah. I'm sorry for all. Hopefully nobody put any money on what I talked about earlier last week on the game. Don't listen to me. I'll tell you when I'm like confident. It was in regards to a question. If I unsolicitedly provide gambling advice, do not use it. But if I go on if I stand up on
or
a table,
go the opposite way.
Yeah, you can. Looking to buy a home? Who isn't? First, though, you'll need someone in your corner, so turn to the experience and savvy of Home Financial Group. Home Financial Group offers products for any prospective buyer, whether FHA, VA, conventional, or commercial loan, and hard money for investors looking to generate wealth. Get a hold of Ryan. He's a Nole. 954-358-9247. 954-358-9247, and his team can put together a fully documented pre-approval so you can search with total confidence. NMLS number 1314679, Sunrise, Florida.
Hey, so we get I was just looking at it.
Yeah, three players.
We do get some players tomorrow.
Let's go. 2 p.m. sharp. Joshua Farmer, Joshua Burrell, and Malik McClain. I think of those three, well, I mean, do you think of any of those three, which one would you say is most likely to have an impact on the fortunes of the 2021 Florida State football team?
I would say McClain.
Okay.
One of the receivers. Again, you know my whole deal with Lyman. But I am interested because I do. You'll ask them. You ask questions. By
the way, Corey would like to ask questions, but it's 2021. We have to compete on multiple fronts as a digital media organization, so Corey is a stenographer. I mean, Corey so accurately transcribes these press conferences so that our valued subscribers on Warchant.com don't necessarily have to sit through and watch the entire 25-minute Mike Norvell interview or the 9-minute player interview. They can go on to the Tribal Council and quote for quote, question and answer. They can read it right there.
Yeah, especially for like if you're at work and you can't be playing a video when you're supposed to be looking over TPS reports or something. You can at least read what's going on with your program. But I would be interested to know if Burrell and McClain, what their relationship is with Mackenzie Milton, if they have one at all.
Okay.
Like, does he know their names?
No.
You know, just stuff like. But have they? I assume they haven't thrown yet. I wouldn't think, but maybe they have. Who knows? But I would be interested how much of like the playbook they would know already as a freshman that's been on campus for 2 weeks. Like how much, or I guess a month now, what they've been studying and when there'll be like. I assume Mackenzie Milton can say, "Hey man, I'm going to be at the park at 4:00. Be there."
Yeah.
There's no rules against that, right?
I think they can do. Yeah, I think what they call PRP, player run practices.
Yeah.
I think they're able to organize those kind of things. I think later on in the summer they're a little bit more structured, if that makes sense. Although it's still player run. But yeah, that's a good sort of question, a leading question that I can ask them.
Or maybe not even just Mackenzie Milton. Like, what is their relationship with the quarterbacks? Have they caught any passes from them at all? Do they know them? Do they hang out with them? Have they watched film of them? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say I agree. McClain and maybe Farmer. Although, like, Farmer played on the edge in high school, and apparently he's growing. He's, like, up to 270, so he's probably going to play inside. Which, yeah, it's just, I think, watching starting lineups, I mean, which is not a good comparison to use because they look pretty terrible, the Chiefs. But, the Chiefs played a 4-2-5. Like, you're starting lineup with only two linebackers.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you a little bit of hope. That this defense will find a way to bounce back, and maybe one of these young guys can help. Throw some bodies at the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, they're off this week. The coaches, like this is they're on like vacation. You think Adam Fuller can he enjoy vacation? Like we talk about compartmentalizing, at least on like a more fun kind of level, or like is it always in the back of your mind, man? I got to get this thing fixed, or we're not going to be able to go to Barbados next year because,
Yeah, but don't you think that's probably all of them? Like, they might have a little more job security, but I don't think those guys care any less. Somebody like Alex Atkins or, Marv or Mike Norvell. Like, I feel like always in the back of their minds, they're wondering, even on a vacation, even when they're eating, dinner with their family, like, I'm sure it's still part of their thought process. It's still in their thoughts somewhere. Like, man, we were really bad last year. We were really bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm sure there's a little bit of a weight on all their shoulders. It's like when you, it's just life, man. Like, if you've had if you're worried that you might be fired or if you don't like your job, even when you're, like, you can't just, I'll use my example. I've said it before, but I used to work at a place, 2 decades ago, 21 years ago now, jeez Louise, where I just did not like my boss. He was just a nightmare of a boss. And it got to the point where even though I liked being a sports writer, even when I was hanging out with my friends and having a good time and having some Mick Ultras, if they were around back then, there was always a wait. It was never like free and easy because I knew, in 36 hours, I got to be back dealing with that. I feel like people can relate to that. Like, I'm sure they're having a good time. They're on vacation. You want to clear your mind, but your mind's never really clear when you're struggling as a football program. You got too much work to do. I wonder if does Nick Saban chill out? That's what I wonder. Is he just fishing with his feet up?
Yeah, he goes.
Or is he? You know what I mean? Does he ever allow himself a week of just not caring?
Yeah. He's got Miss Terry around, man. Miss Terry's going to pull him away every now and then. He's got a daughter, and yeah.
Yeah, but he'll get pulled away. But like, did you see the Belichick Saban? Was it a 30 for 30 or an HBO documentary?
I still haven't seen it. I finally got around to watching the Parcells Belichick one last month. But no, I still haven't seen the Saban.
So I think it's Saban. It might be Belichick, but I think it's Saban's daughter is getting married. Maybe it's Belichick's daughter. It's one of the two. But they're at the wedding, and it's a nice wedding, obviously, and they're giving their speech as the father of the bride, or they're out there at the wedding, and in the back of his mind, it's like, God, we got to get better at linebacker. Like, I think when you're that kind of personality, it never leaves. You can't just allow yourself to be free and easy and enjoy it. I don't think.
Maniacal.
I think just how those guys are wired. I don't think Adam Fuller or Mike Norvell or Saban or Dabo are just allowing themselves to be, maybe Dabo's different, are allowing themselves, because he's got, two $2 million coordinators, that take care of the offense and the defense, allow themselves to just be free and easy and just enjoy life.
It does make you wonder, man. You see these, Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy, was a guy that has been, much pushed to get a head coaching job. Steve Spagnuolo, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He was a head coach. Didn't work out for him. Todd Bowles, he won 10
Byron
games.
Leftwich.
Won 10 games for the Jets. Byron Leftwich, shoot. I think he's going to be able to – he'll probably get his name thrown into the mix here next year. It's just, when you think about the support staff, like when you got coordinators like that, when you're Saban, you have all these ex-coaches, which is just absurd now. Just Doug Marrone.
Muschamp, did you see Muschamp's getting $300,000 to be a quality control analyst at Georgia?
He's Columbia's still paying him. South Carolina's still paying him. He might be getting money from Florida still.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't believe Georgia would throw that much money at him. That's his alma mater. I think I could have sworn I thought most of these guys did the job for 30, 40 grand because they were still getting paid.
Some of them might, but I saw on the guy that covers UGA for The Athletic said it was a $300,000 contract for Muschamp to be not even an on-field coach, which again, it's just a different sport. I'm not going to talk about this again, but what made me think of that more was Trevor Bauer going to the Dodgers. Like the World Series champs just got a Cy Young winner because they can afford him. They're going to pay him $40 million a year. They pay Mookie Betts like $32 million a year. Trevor Bauer makes more money. Trevor Bauer will make more money than 3 Major League Baseball teams. Like total. Their payroll is less than Trevor Bauer. And college football isn't like that, and hopefully it will never get like that. But it's in the same ballpark where one school can afford to pay a quality control analyst $300,000. One school can afford to pay its 2 coordinators $2 million each. And other schools struggle to put together $600,000 for a defensive coordinator or $800,000 for a defensive coordinator. So that's the plight of college football right now is the haves and the have-nots. And that gap, much like Major League Baseball, is widening.
Man, Kenny was making $500 at Auburn, and he paid $625 to come to Tallahassee to work for your friend. Same title, same responsibilities.
It's a good job though, man. It's a lot of money. Nobody's sneezing at $625.
No, I think that's. I don't want to say overpaying the guy, but I'm trying to spitball to get us a show to get us through the 8th day of the month of February. Of just like if you're Norvell, do you kind of hope that Kenny does get a job and then maybe you can hire because it's your offense. I know Kenny's up there. You trust him. It's kind of invaluable the synergy that you guys you both have. But at the same time, it's your concepts that Kenny's familiar with. Like what you're looking at and what you want to see and what you want to call. That if this doesn't, and I again, man, hopefully it works out with Adam Fuller. Everything. If all the guys are bringing in work, that's the easiest path to success, which is what I want to see for this university and this team that I cover. But you just wonder, man, because I don't know if Florida State's ever going to be in the I don't know how far away we are from being able to have like $1 million coordinator. We had that with Kendall Browse, I guess.
That's just not. That's what
both
you
of them
can't,
though. But you need both of them. How can you compete with everybody if you don't have guys that are the caliber that merit 7-figure salaries? The both of them, offense and defense.
You can't though. But look, man, what did Pelini get paid this past year? You can have a lot of money and spend it really unwisely and stupidly. And all those coaches, other than Kirby and Saban, right, and Mullen, haven't they all been fired? In the SEC, it just eats itself. God. You can spend a lot of bad money just paying somebody 1.6 unless he's Venables. And there's not many Venables out there. There are no guarantees when it comes to spending that kind of money. So remember, Jimbo wanted the guy that ended up being the head coach at Southern Miss.
Yeah, Ellis Johnson.
What was his name? I always forget his name.
Ellis Johnson.
He wanted Ellis Johnson and was really upset that Florida State didn't give him the money because I think Ellis wanted $1 million or so, and he didn't get him as a defense coordinator. Instead, he got Jeremy Pruitt. So, you can make good hires and not – that's how Florida State has to get back into when it comes to this. And maybe Dillingham is that guy. Maybe Fuller's that guy. But you're not going to go get you're not going to go compete with these schools and get a $1.9 million defensive coordinator. It's not reality. But you can go get a really good up and coming young coach from a smaller school, identify them, use your sources, use your connections with your Mike Norvell, find one of the bright minds that's working at UTEP. There, I did it. Or Troy, or someplace like that, and bring him. He'd crawl to Tallahassee for $700,000 a year, and if he's good, then you start giving him more money. So yeah, Florida State's never going to be able to do what Alabama and Georgia can do when it comes to paying coordinators, but they can still go get good coordinators. There's not you just got to go find them. You got to work a little harder. Much like right now, Norvell has to do in recruiting. You can go find really good football players. It's not as easy as going down the top 30 on Rivals and being, I want that guy, I want that guy, I want that guy, like Alabama gets to do. Not that Alabama does that, but you know what I mean. Like Florida State has to work a little harder to go find really good college football players right now.
Quick intermission, by the way. Somebody posted on our YouTube page, how come you guys use the Rivals rankings? Warchant.com is part of the Rivals.com network.
Correct.
So that's why we do that. Somebody said that we were incorrect with Tiger Woods as a young child appearing on a nighttime talk show. They said it was a Johnny Carson show. No, we were right. I did check it. It was the Mike Douglas show. And somebody does not like the way that we pronounce Kentron's last name, which we would assume we're learned, educated men, would be pronounced much the same way as, I think, Oscar award-winning actor Sidney Poitier.
In the heat of the night.
Yeah.
But it is not.
In the media guide, it is spelled out poor tier, which is why we pronounce it that way. It could, hey, maybe Sydney just kind of not Sydney. Maybe Kentron just kind of goes with the flow, and hey, whatever you want to call it, and somebody type that out. But that's how we do it. You know how much Bo Pelini got paid? Are you ready, Corey Clark?
I am.
3-year deal, 3 years, $2.3 million each year.
Come on,
2.
man. So he made $7 million from LSU because he's fired, right? They got rid of him.
Yeah, he's gone.
But the money ain't gone, so they have to pay him $7 million to just basically be a saboteur for the LSU defense. He got paid $7 million. That's what I'm saying, man.
Listen, you are right. Because there is no guarantee. Even when I'm not going to lie, I think I've said it before on the show. Part of me was going through all the scenarios in early 2017 when things were going sideways for Florida State. And there's no way Charles Kelly's coming back. Who's out there that's got some sort of tie to Jim? But I'm like, actually, hey man, I'm like, Bo Pelini's killing it in Youngstown State. Maybe he wants to get back into the big game. Maybe you can go after Bo Pelini. They crossed paths, but they both were in Baton Rouge. I'll take Bo Pelini in a heartbeat over Charles Kelly. And then looks what Bo Pelini does. So, yeah, you are right. And I think I mentioned it previously as well. Alex Grinch was supposed to be the savior of Oklahoma's defense, and he wasn't. But he's made them quite improved. He was a linebackers coach at Washington State with Mike Leach. Mike Leach is defensive coordinator right now in Mississippi State, and Mississippi State is top 30, top 25 total defense. Now, they're a really good defense in 2019, too. When T-Buck was secondary coach and we were trying to clamor to get him to Tallahassee. But his defense coordinator, Zach Arnett, was the linebackers coach at San Diego State and then took the job at Washington State and then followed him to Starkville. So, yeah. That kind of is the blueprint. But just those are –
like Florida State should – like I know Florida State doesn't get to eat first when it comes to the best available defensive coordinators. Yeah. But of guys of that ilk – position coaches at big schools, our defensive coordinators at smaller schools. Florida State should eat first. Yeah. Like they should get the biggest bowl. They get to go to the bowl first.
Well, Georgia,
because it's Florida State.
Well, Georgia with Dan Lanning, right? I mean, Dan Lanning that was Norvell's guy, and then Kirby took him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can't compete with Georgia when it right. You see what I'm saying? They got the guy they wanted. Florida State should be the best at getting that next tier because they cannot get. They're just not going to get Dan Lanning from Georgia. Right. Or Brent Venables. It's just too hard. It's too much money they're competing with, and they can't compete to that extent financially with those guys. But you can certainly make a great offer to what you say was the Washington State linebackers coach.
Yeah. You follow.
That's what I'm saying. In that, Oklahoma actually had a pretty darn impressive defense for them anyway this year. That's what I'm saying. Like that's where or if you wanted to go get the Cincinnati DC.
He's now at Notre Dame.
Who's not? Well, yeah, exactly. So but you have to identify him before Notre Dame. You know what I mean? You had to identify him the year before. But if you have your eyes peeled and you know people and you trust people, you should be able to get your pick of the litter of those types of coaches. And there are a lot of them out there. And hey, man, Adam Fuller might be one of them. He might be the best in the business. He just got off to a bad start, a little rocky, a little shaky.
Can we
didn't have the locker room, had some guys that weren't used to climbing. Yeah. But now he's, now with a year under his belt, it's going to look completely different. I do not want to dismiss him. Just saying, if some bad stuff continues to happen on that side of the ball, Florida State should be able to hand pick from that pool. It should be easy fishing, shooting fish in a barrel, as I like to say, from that, not the Venables of the world, but the next step down. Position coaches, DCs at smaller schools, Florida State should have the pick of the litter.
So I'd always be curious to talk to either like an opposing fan or a writer of another team that Florida State played to kind of get their opinion on Adam Fuller. 'Cause I wonder what the opinion of, I don't know, like a NC State guy was.
Not great.
Of Charles Kelly in 2014. My whole thing going back to the importance of this first game and what it's meant to Florida State the several, last 5 years, 5-6 years. Like what we see in week one has really fleshed out to be the way that the team has played the rest of the season over 3 different coaching staffs. And my whole thing about like when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like why, should I not believe that what we saw last year, that's just kind of what Adam Fuller is. It just, unfortunately, if he doesn't have, an offense that's going to be able to put up 38, 42 points and his defense kind of gets 1 or 2 stops. Like, I don't know if he's built or he has enough time or enough talent with him to try to get guys that are going to, they're going to go out there and hold teams under 24 points. And it's a little bit, nerve-wracking to think that that's the way your defense kind of is. But, you have to kind of trust Mike Norvell and he paid him a lot of money. And I don't know.
Hey, man, we'll see. Again, nobody's brimming with confidence about Adam Fuller right now.
Yeah.
But, that doesn't mean that he can't get it done. It just doesn't. It was a weird, bizarre year that he did not perform well. That side of the ball was horrendous. But that does not that doesn't mean it portends of just awfulness for the rest of his career. It could have been a blip. It could have been a 1-year transition year. But you're right. There was nothing we saw that gives you a lot of hope, necessarily. Hope might be too strong a word. Doesn't give you a lot of confidence. Everybody has hope. Hope. You got to have hope, guys. Forget what Morgan Freeman said in Shawshank. You need hope. Hope's not a dangerous thing. It's a wonderful thing. But I get that there's no confidence. There's not a lot of confidence in what you saw right now because how in the world could there be? Like, they didn't slow down anybody.
I should have done this, but I was watching the game. I was being a red-blooded American. Maybe I need to go back and just look at Power 5 programs over the last 15 years.
What was your Super Bowl meal, by the way? What'd you eat while you were watching?
I warmed up some leftover. Last week I went crazy with making Persian food. Like I, for some reason, got this little, itch. I'm like, I need to get back to my roots. Called my dad, got some old family recipes, and started whipping up some old Persian meals.
Okay.
So I warmed some of that stuff up because I had pizza on Saturday night, so that was my cheat meal. So,
all right.
What'd you have, big guy?
So you just had leftovers, is what you said. Yeah. I had Stephanie whipped up some fajitas.
Ooh.
So Brady and I and her had some steak and chicken fajitas.
Ooh.
And with a little rice, and then also some wings.
She treats you good, man. Keep her around.
Man,
she
and
feeds
I
you
tell
really
you what,
well.
she does. Trust me, she does. She clean. I think Brady was stunned when he walked back into this house after his game on Saturday. In the first floor of it's only 2 stories, folks. Don't go crazy. But the downstairs looks like it did when I moved in. Like it's never been this clean ever since.
It's a beautiful thing, right?
Brady, it's awesome. Brady felt like he was probably walking into another house.
Yeah, cleanliness is as close to godliness.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I need to maybe look up the last 10, 15 years, Power 5, and just kind of seen maybe kind of figure out the best 10, 15 coordinators over that period of time and how they kind of performed in year one. I'm not trying to get anybody down here, but like if you think about Florida State coordinators the last 20 years, Jeff Bowden's first year, not very encouraging. Jimbo's first year really wasn't all that encouraging, but that worked out. Mark Stoops' first year, pretty good. That worked out really good, I think.
Yeah.
Charles Kelly's first year, not so good. Didn't work out that well. Harlan Barnett's first year, not that good. Didn't work out. Walt Bell's first year, not that good. Et cetera, et cetera. But, there's no slam dunk on this sort of stuff. But it would be, hey, look, if I were to tell you the Kansas City Chiefs were not going to score a single touchdown in the Super Bowl, but, Adam Fuller can't make this a top 65 defense? Impossible
Crazier
is
things
nothing.
have happened. Yeah, exactly. Anything is possible, man. Crazier things that have happened than Adam Fuller making Florida State the number 63 defense in the country. We can dream. That could be a reality in just 9 short months.
Last thing on the way out. Do you subscribe to the Irish O'Fell school of guruing and management? FSU needs transfers to provide more than size, speed, and strength. Is it, I don't want to use the C word.
Are you talking about what he wrote this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
I know you don't like using, but there's a lot of C words you do use, but you're talking about culture.
Yeah.
I don't know why, though. You have such a hesitance. Hesitance, is that a word?
Well, because it was like, all right, like, the culture here was terrible with Jimbo. Like, Willie's changing it because that's what was being reported. Like, he is changing it. He's flipping the culture.
He did change the culture, but he didn't change it positively. Like, he just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't flip it. He changed it and it went bad in another direction.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, so what Mike Norvell did to change the culture. They went 3-6, so by virtue of that, you're like, it's bad what he did. Or it's like, no, it's going to take time. But then why don't you give that time to his predecessor? And then you kind of get into this whole, vicious sort of cycle. And there's other guys that have done great in year one, but not in the midst of a pandemic. We've talked about that. Colorado, Arkansas, Missouri.
Again, those weren't, like, Arkansas didn't turn out to be very good.
No, that's what. Yeah. I'm saying, like, no first.
Oh,
year,
I see what you're saying. I got
no
you.
first year Power 5 guy killed it last year. Like Lane, for as much as I'd like Lane Kiffin, like Lane didn't. I mean, that offense was pretty awesome, but that defense was horrid. And he went and got DJ Durkin, a guy that probably should not be a coordinator and being responsible for the well-being of young men right now. Stuck his neck out for that guy, and that didn't work out. I get it, man. Like, you're not going to win a game with a bunch of turds in a locker room, even if they're all really fast and really strong and, really skilled. I totally get that. I just wonder if that's that stuff takes time, I feel like.
Sure, but I think, turds isn't – I don't necessarily think that Florida State was filled with turds.
I'm sorry, let's not use that word. I mean, I apologize. I brought it up. I shouldn't have used it. But yeah, just.
No, you brought it up because Willie brought it up way back at the ACC media days that first year when he's like, I thought I was going to find a bunch of turd. That's not a bad word, right? It's not a cuss word.
It's just gross. We're grown up. So
I don't like it. I don't like saying it. We've already said it 5 times.
Yeah.
But the point is, he said it then, and that's a word that gets used about locker rooms and athletes a lot.
We like to say blank birds. You and I.
Yes, right? Exactly. Or slap blanks is another one I like to use. But I don't necessarily think, because when you hear that word, you think, oh, if you think that's the culture that needs to be changed, it's not just guys that aren't good people. I don't think Florida State had a lot of dudes on the team that aren't good people. No. It's maybe they just don't know how to work hard or what it really looks like. And I think that's when I was writing about guys that come in from better programs and bigger programs and have accomplished a lot. That's the kind of stuff that, look, man, I know it's more than just Tom Brady, but Tampa Bay had not made the playoffs in a decade and a half. Yeah. One dude comes in. I know there were more. I get it. I got it, guys. But one guy comes in and completely alters the feeling of a franchise. You know,
Jameis would have won. Jameis would have won if they would have given him
that's
Gronk
what I'm saying.
and all those guys.
And I still think Jameis can have a spot in the NFL. I think he's one of the best college football players I've ever seen.
Yep,
They're not winning the Super Bowl with Jameis Winston.
Probably not.
They're just not. Look, so he's not Tom Brady. No, duh. We got it. But having somebody like that, people like that have done it, and you see, I don't think that's something that can just be dismissed. Tom Brady doesn't lose games. And I think when you saw him talking smack to Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Like he's just that kind of stuff, you feed off that kind of stuff. It just does. It's like you can go through a list of a bunch of athletes that no matter where they go, they end up being winners. And I do think that there's something to that. Now, if you're surrounded with a bunch of awful football players, like if Tom Brady was on the Jaguars, they weren't winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? We all understand that. But him on a decent team, and the Bucs were always close to decent. They were always 7 wins to 9 wins. And, they were, maybe if Jameis had only thrown 19 interceptions instead of 30, they might have made the playoffs in 19. But he was on a pretty good team. But you see that and you feel that. And the guys in that locker room, it matters to them, I think. I really do think it has an effect. I don't know how you gauge it. I don't know if it makes them 15% better just to have Tom Brady's being in the locker room, not even taking account what he does on the field, but just being there. But it has an effect. I don't think you can measure it, but I think it has an effect. And I think somebody like Mackenzie Milton and Akir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, people like that, can have a positive effect on guys that have never done squat. None of these guys in this Florida State locker room have accomplished squat in college football. Now they're going to be around at least 6 or 7 guys that have. And they're going to see how they work, and they're going to see how they carry themselves, how practice, and when they watch film, and how much they're paying attention in a position room. This is assuming they all do this stuff, which we think they will. I just think that does have a trickle-down effect. It's not going to make them a 10-win team, but I do think it has a trickle-down effect. And I think Mackenzie Milton's impact can be bigger than just being able to get rid of the ball quickly and seeing the field. I think there's other stuff that can make an impact too.
Certainly hope so, man. I'm not discounting it. I do think it's important that your best players are your leaders, and your leaders are your best players, and certain stuff is held in check, and guys are held more accountable and told that, hey, man, like you're feeling really good right now, man. You want to go on Instagram and tell everybody how great you did, but you know what, man, like you really didn't. So how about you maybe sit this one out, champ? Like, they need that kind of stuff for sure. I just wonder, like, I'd be much more receptive to it. I don't know if it's because I feel like we got burnt, but that's no one else's fault but your own for setting those expectations. But, like, I mean, it's one thing if you look at the 2019 Florida State football team and you're like, all right, yeah, like, a couple, some leadership and going that extra yard and practice. Maybe you do beat Virginia. Maybe you do beat. I don't know. There were some close games there. Maybe you don't fold against Boise State, but just the discrepancy in what the margins of loss, of defeat in 2020. Just like, man, that's a lot to make up with. Just we can do it, guys. But hey, I mean,
it's hard to quantify.
Yeah.
It really is hard to quantify. But I would be interested to talk to somebody like Telvin. Or Kenny Shaw, or somebody that was on the 2012 team and the 2013 team. Because obviously Jameis was a better quarterback than E.J. Manuel. But E.J. Manuel was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a first-round pick. He was an all-ACC guy. He was, he wasn't terrible. But it just seem like, and a lot of it had to do with the play, but that Florida State team never thought they were going to even be in a game. And I think that can come down. Yes, it helps to have really good players all over the field. But that dude taking the snaps, when you have utter belief in him, and you know that he knows that he's awesome. He knows he's awesome. You know he's awesome. The way he carries himself, I just think that position in particular has a way. And now I know we're not just putting this all on Mackenzie Milton, but I would be interested to know, like, talking to somebody like that, talking to name anybody from the 12 team that was also on the 13 team. Those guys, what was the difference? Was it just Jameis was better than EJ? Because it wasn't like that 2012 team was ripping through everyone. You know what I mean? Like they struggled in a few games. They barely beat Virginia Tech. They didn't even dominate Northern Illinois. That was a game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Go down the line. There were some games where they weren't great. And I would love to know what that difference was between 12 and 13, other than they just found this transcendent quarterback. Like what did that belief in the offense and that belief in that quarterback, how did it permeate the rest of the team? And maybe it didn't. Maybe I'm full of doo-doo. But I have a sneaking suspicion they believed in that dude so much, and that gave them this like superhuman belief in themselves, and they went out and became one of the best teams in college football history.
All right.
You heard?
Yeah, man.
I'm just trying to bring it back to old good times, Aslan.
I know. I only meant maybe like 46% of the stuff I said today. I just had to be contrarian to keep the show going. We're at the 50-minute mark. We've done our job.
I can't believe we've done 50 minutes. I can't believe y'all are listening. But if you still are,
God, I love you all.
You guys are the best. We don't deserve you. I was going to say I'm gonna promote a column that I wrote really quickly. I know the basketball team still isn't playing. But if you weren't paying attention this weekend, Patrick Williams became the youngest Chicago Bull to ever score 20 points in a game. He's 19. He's the youngest player in the NBA, by the way. And on Friday night, he had 20 points, which was more than he ever scored at Florida State. And then the next night, he had 16 points and 10 rebounds in the same game that Dwayne Bacon had 16 points. In a night after Malik Beasley scored 29 points. And on the same day where Devin Vassell had 9 points and 3 steals. In a day before, Terrence Mann played 26 minutes for the Clippers. The point of the column, you can probably understand by now, is just what Florida State is doing in the NBA. Because it's pretty remarkable. They have 8 guys in the NBA right now because Trent Forrest got called back to the Jazz because Mike Conley, I think, got hurt. So they filled out the roster with him. They have 8 guys in the NBA, and like five of them are real contributors. Malik Beasley has an outside chance. He's not going to make it, but he's averaging 20 points a game. He could be an all-star.
I know.
But when you look at Patrick Williams and what he's doing as the youngest player in the league, you project him in 3 years. He could and should be an all-star. And then Devin Vassell has a chance to be something. Scotty Barnes is going to be in the league whenever he is. Matthew Cleveland might be in the league. So Dar Calhoun, MJ, who knows who's going to be in the league. But this Florida State team, what is that? That just does so much for the program when you have these guys not just getting drafted, but then shining on that stage. That name Florida State, you start hearing all around the country, man. And what's awesome about it is you can recruit anyone in the country. And if they say, well, man, if I'm not going to get shots, I don't know if I'm going to get noticed by scouts. And they're like, dude, Patrick Williams averaged 9 points a game for us. And he's now starting for the Chicago Bulls as a 19-year-old. They'll find you. We can promote you, and we can accentuate your strengths. We're going to develop you, and we're going to be able to highlight your skills to the point where they don't care if you shoot up. NBA teams don't care if you score 26 points a game if you're taking 32 shots. At Florida State, they love what they see from these Florida State guys. Devin Vassell and Patrick Williams are, and Malik Beasley and Bacon are legitimate players, and Terrence Mann are legitimate players in the NBA. And Jonathan Isaac might be the best of the bunch, and he's hurt. So yeah, it's a really cool time to be a Florida State basketball fan. To have NBA League Pass, to see these guys play. And it's just got to be awesome for Leonard and his staff to see like a Patrick Williams and a Devin Vassell and a Terrence Mann having this kind of success at the NBA level. And it's just going to keep feeding itself. By the way, guess how many players Kentucky has in the NBA?
17?
30.
Ooh,
and I bet like 20 of them are all-stars or former all-stars. But hey, you know what Kentucky's record is this year, Aslan?
Not good. I know that.
5-12.
Sheesh.
5-12. My man has probably legitimately 4 or 5 NBA first-round picks on his roster. At least 3, and he's 5-12. But hey, what are you going to do? And Florida State, we hope, will be back. I don't know if we get Leonard tomorrow or today or not on the conference call for the ACC coaches, but we hope that Florida State will be playing again Saturday if everything goes to plan. Against Wake Forest at home. If you haven't been paying attention, there was a Louisville-Pittsburgh game was postponed on Sunday night. There have been some other games that have been postponed. It's just a tough stretch, man. We're just trying to get through it. It's a crazy year. It's cool to watch Scotty Barnes. in this team, and hopefully we'll get to see them in the tournament, and maybe they can make something magical happen in this weird, crazy year.
Well said, Corey. Also, college
Thanks, buddy.
football comes back Saturday, I think.
That's right. It was like Stephen F. Austin against Montana State and games like that, right?
Yeah. We need to adopt a team.
I mean, I'm for the Lumberjacks. Okay. If they're actually playing, I'm a Lumberjacks guy. You know me.
All right, you're right.
So I'm Stephen F. Austin. I ride and die with them.
Are they the Lumberjacks?
I think so.
Northern Arizona, I know they're the Lumberjacks.
Okay. Well, there's two I think Stephen F. Austin's the Lumberjacks. They might be the Quakers. I don't know.
They are the
I don't know who
Lumberjacks.
Stephen F. Austin was.
They're Lumberjacks.
Oh,
You're
okay.
right. Go with your first instinct, kids. Always go with your first instinct.
Is that who Austin, Texas was named after?
I think so.
Okay.
Stephen.
If not, it sounds good, doesn't it?
I don't have time to fact check.
Yeah, we don't got time for that.
Don't punt on that question on Trivia Night, everybody. Sorry, we'll try to get you better next time. Right. We'll do a live program on Tuesday, most likely, and follow up with the Renegade Express. And we'll keep you posted on everything you need to know over on Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. That's a wrap for the program. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant. Catch up with you all Tuesday.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.